So, IKEA serves over 800 million customers annually across 60 plus market, and the company created an entire industry around affordable and disposable furniture. So today they are leading one of the most ambitious corporate climate transitions globally. This case study demonstrates that the transformation is possible even for the complex and global business. So let's start with the challenge that IKEA faced. So the it was founded in 1943 by Ingvar Kamprad in rural Sweden. Uh, he pioneered fast flat pack furniture in the 1950s, revolutionary for logistic and cost. By 2016, IKEA's global footprint reached 26.9 million tons of CO2 equivalent annually. uh, it created a disposable furniture culture. People treated IKEA furniture as temporary. Millions of tons of furniture ending up in landfills after just few years of use. The odds against the transformation were the complex global supply chain, that is 1,000 plus suppliers across 50 plus countries. Low margin business models meant every cost mattered. 46.6% of emissions came from raw material extractions and processing outside direct control. The customer expectations deeply ingrained around affordability and disposability, and skepticism that circular business model could work at a scale. Um, this chart shows that the materials they were using, 46.6% of raw materials extraction and processing. Product use was 17.6%. Customer use phase.
Which
Production,
year? Which year was this?
it was for the base year of
16. Okay, okay. FY
16.
16.
Sorry. Production, 15.8% for manufacturing at supplier facilities. Transport, 12.4% of logistics and distribution. Retail operations of 5.2%, store and warehouse operations. And end of life, 2.4% of disposal and waste. The critical scope breakdown was the scope 1 direct emission was 0.2% of minimal direct operation, and scope 2 indirect energy 0.5%, and purchase electricity, heating and cooling, and scope 3 value chain 99.3%. This was the transformation challenge. The 99.3% scope composition is critical, unlike companies where direct operation dominates. IKEA's impact is almost entirely indirect, which means that transformation requires changing not just IKEA's operation but the entire value chain, that is 1,000 plus suppliers across 50 plus countries, with varying capabilities, regulations and energy infrastructure. um, this requires the system level change, not just operational efficiency. The technical challenge that highlights here is that composition shows the carbon offset alone would not be insufficient. Within the 99.3% of emissions in scope 3, IKEA must actually transform suppliers, redesign the products, change materials, rebuild logistic, and shift customer behavior. Buying offsets would leave the underlying system unchanged and vulnerable to future shock. So in 2015, the Paris Agreement that happened, 1.5 degrees Celsius pathway established as the global target. It created a framework for the corporate sectors also. Uh, the IKEA then began the internal strategic analysis in 2015. In 2019, 200 million euros investment was announced, in which the initial capital commitment to climate positivity strategy, uh, it was a signal of a board level commitment, and they began a supplier engagement program. In 2020, single use plastic phased out, first major retailer globally to eliminate all the single use plastic, which affected 100 plus products, requiring finding sustainable alternatives for packaging, utensils, straws, and demonstrated willingness to change core operations. In 2021, 1 billion euro pledge was taken. The IKEA Foundation committed 1 billion euro over 5 years to climate programs, which covers the renewable energy access, forest conservation, regenerative agriculture, and it enables a societal transformation beyond IKEA's own operation. In 2024, SBTI net zero validation was for formal validation of net zero target by science based target initiatives, which confirmed the alignment to 1.5 degree Celsius pathway and provided third party credibility and accountability. The transformation drivers first was the supply chain complexity. 46.6% of emissions from materials means transformation, which requires coordinating change across hundreds of forestry operation, sawmills, plastic manufacturers, textile producers, and metal processors. Each operate under different regulatory regimes, has different technical capabilities, and faces different economic constraints. Second driver was regulatory pressure. EU Green Deal, CBAM, CSRD. They created a regulatory landscape which favoring early movers. So proactive action positions IKEA ahead of mandatory requirements. Third driver was customer demand. Internal consumer research showed that 73% of customers want sustainable options, but only if affordable and convenient. This created both the opportunity and constraint, must maintain the price competitiveness while improving the sustainability. The fourth driver was business case. Analysis showed that climate action could drive innovation, reduce future risk of energy price volatility, resource scarcity, regulation, and strengthen the brand and create new revenue systems through circular service. Leadership recognized in action at higher risk strategy. Then the bold targets: 50% absolute GHG emissions reduction by 2030 from the financial year 16 baseline of 26.9 million tons, 90% reduction by 2050, and it all covers scope 1, 2, and 3. This is critical as 99.3% of their emissions are scope 3. The SBTI validation validated it in June 2024. No carbon offset used to meet reduction targets, only real emission cuts. The three pillars framework: the first pillar was reduce emission across the entire value chain through renewable energy, sustainable materials, circular design, and operational efficiencies. Second pillar was to remove and store carbon, though responsible forestry, regenerative agriculture, and carbon storage in products themselves. The third was go beyond, means to contribute to societal transformation by enabling customer, advocating for policy, and collaborating with industries. So why does this matters? Unlike vague carbon neutral claims, IKEA targets are specific, measurable, time bound, and third party validated. This builds credibility. um, Investment scale of 7.5 billion by 2030, they have committed to it. 2.5 billion already invested as of 2021. An additional 4 billion euro accelerated announced to reach 100% renewable across value chain. The infrastructure deployed was 54 wind farms in 17 countries, operational and committed. 26 solar park in 11 countries, 9,35,000 rooftop solar panels on IKEA stores, distribution centers, and warehouse worldwide. One battery storage project in operation in Texas, 16.4 megawatt, and total renewable energy capacity which is greater than 2.3 gigawatt. The second test was the circular business model transformation from linear take, make, dispose to circular reduce, reuse, and recycle. Um, so here we can see that in 2021 they launched pilot in US in August 2021. They made it permanent in April 2022, which expanded to 33 US stores by 2024. 2,11,600 customers participated in 2023, which is double from 2022. Then 2,63,000 second-hand items sold through online reservation in 2023, up from 70,000 in 2023. It creates a store credit for customers, extends furniture life, provides affordable options, and complemented it by repair services and spare part availability. We can see that 275% growth in participation, and as well 3187% growth in items sold. uh, the material circularity matrix, here we can see that 97% of wood is FSC certified on recycled. 16.2% of wood came from recycled stored in financial year of 2024. Goal was 100% renewable or recycled plastic by 2030, by phasing out the virgin fossil plastics. Then pioneering fireboard to fireboard recycling, eliminate all single use plastic from product range in January 2022. uh, $1 billion invested in recycling infrastructure companies. The third test is value chain decarbonization, scope 3 focus. As we know, 99.3% of emissions are scope 3. Um, so here we can see that the materials, the 50% reduction, largest impact area as 46.6% of emission, which came from raw material. Now in financial year 2024, we have reached till 22. Percent. The food ingredients, 50 is the. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
I had some problem here, so
No, no, you are audible, very much audible. 28% total absolute reduction. That's what you were talking about.
yes. Then in
Published
production,
level.
yes, it is 2030's target. Uh, Production of 80% reduction, renewable energy in supply of factories, and efficiency improvement. Then retail operations of 80%, we have reached to 62%. Product use was set to 70, and they have reached 45%. End of life 30, which is they have reached to 18%. uh, yes. Here we can see the achievements and versus the challengement. Then 30, the sorry.
This has the target of 2030, isn't it? And
Yes,
we have a supply chain
actual
challenge.
emissions is given in green, and the projected path in blue, and the linear trajectory we can see is in gray color. Here we can see there is a 22% of gap, which is to be reduced to meet the 2030 target. The critical challenges here is the supply chain, which is ongoing, the cost pressure, they are managing it, customer behavior, they are improving it by
Okay. One of the very critical concept this graph is showing. How many of you are worried about linear trajectory is going down while the projection is a straight line? How many of it's not a straight line, a slanting line? How many of you are feeling that? Can you tell me why? Very interesting stuff. Okay. This is a projection, right? After blue is projection. So they were expecting this number will go down, right? That was their linear trajectory. However, In reality, it is not happening. Anyone? Why? Soche. Continue. I will take the call.
So despite the challenges, revenue was up by 30.9% and emissions at sorry, I have some issue here. Decoupling growth from emission, revenue grew to 30.9%, while emission fell to 24.3%, which proves the business case. Maintained position as world's largest furniture retailer, customer satisfaction increased, sustainability as a competitive advantage, and circular services, buyback, repair, driving customer loyalty, and new revenue streams. What this proves is transformation doesn't require sacrificing growth. Sustainability investment can strengthen the business model. Then, current status in financial year 25 achievements, SBTI validation is completed, emission reduction 30.1%, as renewable energy 132% generation, sustainable wood 97% FSC recycled, circular investment of 1 billion plus euros in January 2025, and buyback growth of 275% participation. The critical path is from 2026 to 30. In 2026, they are looking for the scale to scale the circular service globally, that is in 50 plus market. 2027 supplier decarbonization acceleration. uh, in 2028, zero emission deliveries, and 2029 100% of renewable value chain, that is for scope 1, 2 and 3. 2030 50% absolute reduction they are looking for. And the gap analysis is that 22% of reduction is needed in next 4 years to achieve the target of 2030. The key lessons for corporate is the science transferable insights from IKEA's transformation journey is that first, we should look for the science based target. Um, just don't set the arbitrary or convenient goals. Align with climate science. Get third party validations to build credibility and avoid greenwashing accusations. Use 1.5% pathway, more ambitious but necessary. Make target public and binding. Accountability drives action. Commit to absolute reduction, not intensity based goal that allows growth to hide in action. Second is to address scope 3, take a value chain approach. Be at the scope 3 of any companies is about 70 to 99% of the impact in its supply chain. So we should not ignore the suppliers. We have to invest in their transition. 99% of IKEA's emissions are scope 3. They don't shy away from this. They engage with the supplier to set their own targets, cascade the commitment, and invest in supplier renewable energy and efficiency, and make it economically viable for them. Then, the third lesson is to design for circularity first. Circle from design. Build circular principle into product design from day one. Design for disassembly, repair, reuse, and recycle. Just don't treat circularity as an afterthought. And then makes spare parts available, empower customers to repair than to replace. Fourth lesson is to deploy real investment at scale, that 7.5 billion euros in renewables. This is not a pilot program money. The 1% $1 plus sorry, 1 plus billion euros in recycling infrastructure, then building the system, not just using what exists, not greenwashing or PR campaigns, actual capital deployment, and treat climate investment as a strategic business investment, not just a CSR expense. And build or buy infrastructure. Don't wait for someone else to solve it. The fifth lesson we can take is engage and enable customer. Make sustainability accessible and affordable. Don't just make it a premium option. Buyback programs make participation easy and financially rewarding. Repair services and spare parts extend product life. Enable customers to take action. No, don't just lecture them. Then create win-win scenarios like store credits, affordable second-hand options, and reduced weights. And the sixth lesson is that to prove that you can decouple growth from emission. Revenue grew from 30.9% while emission fell 24.24%. This destroys the false dichotomy of the that the sustainability is business strategy, and not opposed to it. The circular services creates new revenue system. Customer loyalty increases when the values align.
Well done. Everyone, please clap for her. This is one of the, by the way, finest presentation on IKEA in 16 cohorts I have seen. So good job done, Pratiksha. Okay, good research, good work there. And go to that slide where I have asked the question. Actually, it was answered here. Wait here. Wait, just okay. Uh, Go to the second last. Yeah, this is the slide which proven and she said as well very categorically that sustainability is not cost. Actually, it adds to revenue and it actually empowers the revenue to go and get better. And that's the point number six. Remember that. And now go to that slide where I have raised a question and answer is of course there. The linear trajectory is that trajectory that is their business as usual. Okay, so that consider their historical growth and it goes to downwards. But problem is their growth is exponential. Can you see the revenue? 30.9%. That's the year on year. And they have emission reduction by 24%. So there is a still little extra gap which they are unable to fulfill. Hence, the projected part looks little higher than the linear trajectory. Clear? So remember, this is one of the best graph. And also remember one more thing. Whenever you hear word absolute reduction, even though they talk about 10%, that's very difficult to achieve. It's very difficult to achieve. Why? Because then you have to do it with the science-based target initiative. So anyone who is using science-based target initiative will be talking about absolute reduction and second word, public disclosure. They will commit in public that this is my net zero target. So these are the two key ingredients which are required and you need to consider it for tomorrow's session. So tomorrow's session we will start with such kind of nuggets that what all things are required. Now we can't take any more. So what I will do, I will give my input, one critical input in all four case studies. So you guys need to do little more further digging. So for IKEA, let's take from the last one. IKEA has an initiative called Food Initiative. How many of you know each IKEA store has a restaurant inside it, and that is zero wastage restaurant. Okay, so they try to reduce the food wastage as much as possible. Okay, and that is a part of their circularity part, which they are trying to achieve. And of course, it's a part of their ecosystem. They have you visited IKEA? Yeah, it's a very good. They have a very good store in Hyderabad, very large one. In Bangalore also they have. So in Gurugram they have. So nowadays, wherever they open as a family, place. So you are not going to buy anything. You are going to window shop. Still, you will buy and come back. At least you will eat their food. So that's how they have developed it and very categorically that is adding huge value to them. Okay, and that is a part of their circularity initiative. Second initiative this guy has started long back when people were not even thinking about it by putting barcode on the table, and specific places they used to put. It was not very visible. Why? Because most of their furniture is white color, or the color which is little vibrant. Okay, so they used to put this barcode for circularity purpose, where they used to trace which tree in Malaysia has produced this table, and how to now replenish that tree output so that even 50% of circularity can be achieved. And this they started long back. Now people are designing loyalty program, this program, that program. They design this program that if you can bring me that day, I will replace your table. If you have that intact barcode, it will be replaced. And today their